Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now, go to harrys.com/AAA to get $5 off your first order. Hello, and welcome to another episode of All About Android. This is episode 267, recorded on Tuesday, May 24th, 2016. Your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Florence.
Together at last.
Wow, I know.
You
guys
did
it. You survived.
I really missed you guys last week, by the way. I was so alone in Mountain View.
You survived the I.O.
Yeah.
We missed you last week as well, too. Liam was here in person.
I know. I didn't even see Liam last week, and I was technically in the same spot as him.
Oh, well, he said he was trying to avoid you, so that was no.
That's understandable.
Liam's a man of few words.
He didn't say that, but we could kind of tell. That's kind of what it is.
Well, every time we brought you up, he kind of
He
changed the subject. Probably.
I was incredibly jealous of you guys down at Google I/O. I was behind my desk. I was actually with Leo and Andy Nako and Russell Holly during the keynote. But then the rest of the days, I know you guys had a rough time. You weren't feeling so hot, and you got sunburned. But it seems like
various amount of other things that went wrong. Yes.
Yeah, but you survived.
Yes, I did. I survived Google I/O and staying with my parents for 3 days.
There you go.
Good work. Good work. We knew you could do it. We didn't know you were going to do it, but now that we know,
I did.
Joining us is another person who was at Google I/O, roaming the campus or whatever you want to call it, the festival.
You mean the parking lot?
The parking lot.
It's a huge parking lot.
Michael Fisher. How's it going, Michael?
It's going very well. I think Flo put it best in her video where she's, what did you call it? The Techno Disneyland or something? That's sort of what it felt like.
It is.
Oh, yeah, Frontierland. I thought it was a little Frontierland-ish. But without the turkey legs.
Well, you don't want to touch those turkey legs. Those things are a heart attack, a walking heart attack. Oh,
my God, but they're
so delicious.
delicious.
The calorie count on those alone.
So delicious.
Oh.
But you always have food in your hand everywhere you go.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, no. I saw those. I was like, wait.
I used to be a big fan in 1999. I was there at Disney, and I was there with the turkey leg, and then I read the nutritional information, and never again.
They brought them back.
I know they're so awful for. I'm sorry, it's nothing to do with I/O.
I didn't see turkey legs.
I was surprised that they had it for sale at the Shoreline. I wouldn't have thought that Google.
I know they didn't have any barbecue whatsoever, which was a total.
So was the Shoreline okay? So I was not there, so I apologize. But did the Shoreline Amphitheater concessions, were they open or were they completely closed? Was it all run by Google, or could you get a beer? Or could you get
after hours? You could get a beer.
Yeah, but it wasn't like being at a show. It wasn't like being at a concert. No. Like it wasn't okay.
It was fully run by Google as far as I can tell.
Got it. It's.
Yeah.
Well, no, they probably didn't have it because they'd melt because you were in a parking lot in 90-degree weather.
Ice cream
in 90
Yeah, but I didn't see any hits. And if they were there, I failed in life because I didn't find them.
But that's okay. That's why I always have them in my freezer.
Oh,
you don't have Google branded Itsits. Have you ever gotten Itsits at Google? They have special Google Itsits.
What?
If you go eat at one of the Google cafeterias in the Google campus in the area when you're checking out, there's always a freezer and it's full of Itsits, and the label says Itsit with the Google logo.
Is this another California thing? What is an Itsit?
Okay, so an Itsit.
Oh my God.
Here we go. This is so important.
No, it is a California.
This is really
It is
important.
absolutely a California thing, and an Itsit is an ice cream sandwich that is covered in chocolate. And there are different variations. I believe it's an oatmeal. It's an oatmeal cookie.
It's
an
oatmeal
oatmeal raisin cookie with different flavors of ice cream.
Just oatmeal.
Yeah, just oatmeal cookie. So an oatmeal cookie, ice cream in between, covered in chocolate.
Yeah.
So,
and you could choose between mint or strawberry or pumpkin or mocha or chocolate.
Yeah, there's a good one. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could. My first job was working at a Carvel, so I probably made those. And just
Michael, you're speaking my language. That's I'm Carvel.
All about ice cream.
I love my Carvel.
I had an Itsit this weekend. The mint ones are bomb.
I know.
They're really good.
All right.
So we're going to talk about things that have nothing to do with ice cream and have everything to do with Google. Everything, and I do mean everything, from Google I/O 2016, from Android on Chrome OS to Google's messaging app addiction to Daydream VR to the evolution of ATAP projects into consumer reality and a whole lot more. Man, we've got like, this list is crazy. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how we're going to do this. We're going to pull it off.
We're going to do it.
But we're going to do it. We might as well just do the news right now.
If you thought It's mints were delicious, just wait until you sink your teeth into Android news.
Delicious.
I will go
really
as far as saying that was
It's
one of his best ones.
I know. I really want to know
it might
right now.
It might be because it was about It's It, but Brian, well done, my friend.
You guys gave me a lot of material to work with.
It was fertile soil, basically.
Absolutely.
All right, so Google I/O, we were, it was just a different year. Like, this was my 5th year, and wow, was it just totally
I'm trying
different.
not to thought vomit right now. Like, I'm trying to keep all of my thoughts
organized. Thankfully, we have
so
folders.
much to say.
We have folders
I
in the
know.
document. Let's start with the venue, because that was the biggest, one of the biggest changes.
That's the big question. So all 3 of you were there.
Mm-hmm.
So simple straw poll, very simple. Thumbs up or thumb down on the venue. All right, you got 2 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down. And let's note the thumbs down is coming from the person who was the most excited about it.
It's true.
This flow.
Here's why.
Explain yourself.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm coming from a press perspective, and I just want everybody to know, I know that developers, I think that this was a great venue for you guys because you totally deserve to have the time of your life when you're paying money for this sort of thing. And I think Google totally delivered that. But as a journalist, it was very difficult to work.
Yeah.
To work in an outdoor venue with an outdoor press room with an aluminum laptop in 90-degree heat. And I think that if Google's going to continue doing this, they should have more shade, maybe more water stations than there were, if possible. You know, bottled water would be good as well as what they had going. And yes, I got sunburned. I did get sunburned. I didn't even realize it. I came home to my parents' house, and my dad's like, "You're red." I'm like, that's right, I'm red.
Right, because you're standing on pavement that is reflected, like it.
And I'm pale, so already there's
exactly.
all this sun bouncing off of my
Okay,
skin.
so now, Michael, you gave it a thumbs up. Why?
Yeah, and my thumbs up has to be mitigated. I totally get the heat thing, but I had come from Gainesville, Florida, immediately before I/O, where I was shooting outdoors. We were filming like Tesla reviews. So I came from just the worst possible humidity and heat into what was comparatively actually quite beautiful weather. So I didn't mind the heat so much. And it was my first I/O, so I was bound to forgive it some things. But I was so many people were lamenting the fact that it wasn't in Moscone anymore. And that, that a conference like this maybe deserves a conference center where you can get out of the sun and, it's a little more comfortable for everyone. But I loved it. I loved the festival-like feeling of it all. I loved wandering around the grounds and, breathing fresh air and getting sun. Yeah, too much sun, but getting sun nonetheless. And just seeing weird stuff everywhere, like the Project Loon balloons sitting off in the corner, because why not? That stuff I don't think I would have seen in a less fanciful venue. So that's why I give it a thumbs up. It's just like a little dorky dream, and that's why I loved it.
Yeah.
So now, Jason, I saw a tweet of yours where they asked the audience what they thought of the tell us about that.
Yeah, we were in, God, which one was this? I can't remember which talk it was specifically, but it was a room full of developers. And I think it was actually like a Play Store, families around that topic. And the woman on stage basically says, "So, how many of you have been to I/O in years past at Moscone?" And pretty much almost the entire room raised their hand. And she's like, "And how many of you are really liking it, here at Shoreline?" And I'm pretty sure that every single hand, except for like maybe 1 or 2, just instantly dropped. It was super telling. Beyond that, she continued on. She's like, "Yeah, I don't know how much I really care for it either." And that's,
quickly going with the crowd. It's like, how great is it? Oh yeah, no, I don't like it either.
Yeah. But I mean, anyone that I talk to, Googlers especially, I talked to a decent amount of Googlers about the space, and pretty much the impression that I got is like, this is the new place for it. Like, it's going to be in Google's backyard going forward. There are going to be kinks. This is the first year that they've done it, and they've learned a lot of lessons. I heard that a few times this time, and that they plan to improve on that next year. Really, what they should do is make their tents way larger, because so many developers had a really hard time getting into things, and that's why they're there.
7,000 people and 200 to 500 max capacity for most of those tents is not.
Yeah, it's not enough.
It's not enough. And also, I think maybe those sessions should not be newsworthy sessions. I think the best thing to do next year would be to have the first day be a press and dev day, and then have
No press.
The rest of it just be no press and just have devs hang out. Kind of like, I believe that's what WWDC is a lot like.
Yeah.
And just have all the newsworthy stuff happen on the first day. So that way you don't have press, trying to get into a session so that we can cover it. Because we have to do our jobs. We have to cover things because our bosses need, want us to, and we have to. But I also realize that people paid money to be there and paid travel money to be there and sit on these sessions. So food for thought for next year.
Yeah. I liked it from a hanging out with like-minded individuals in an environment that's it was very, I like being outside, so I like that aspect of it.
I did too. Yeah.
I just don't know how distracting the environment would be if what you're there to do is either really kind of focus on the content, study the things that they're talking about, really soak in that information. Maybe the environment isn't perfect for that, but Google's got a lot of resources. I give them credit in the fact that they can probably figure that out.
Yeah.
So there's that. Announcements. Of course, Android N. That's why we do this show, is Android. And as far as the announcements there, basically still looking at a late summer release. A lot of the things that we heard about N from the keynote, we kind of already knew a good amount of that, but a few kind of new details, a clear all button in multitasking for getting rid of everything. Multitasking.
Praise whoever.
I feel like the one thing we heard, and that was one specific one that I remember, but they kept on mentioning a lot of it. We've heard from developers using it. We've heard from our users. A lot of it seemed like we talked to, who was it that was a couple of months ago that was reacting a lot to I forget who it was, but this idea of we're giving you what you want versus what we think you want, which I thought was interesting. So.
Quick switching between two apps by double tapping multitasking button. That's kind of nice. Again, productivity down that line of thought. Split screen multi-window support, we already knew. Quick reply from the notification itself, which I have. And
you can do that with Hangouts already, and just having that is awesome.
Now.
It's faster now because it's not an overlay that appears after you select to do it. It actually appears inside the notification. Yeah. So
it's a bit presumptuous. So what if I don't want to respond to that person?
So you would get that information down at the bottom. I don't have a thing to demonstrate it, but you could hit reply and literally that notification would just kind of appear.
I'm going to text you.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
You get a lot of notifications, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Unicode 9 emoji, we knew about that. Daydream VR, which we're going to talk about in a second. They say a total of 250 features and enhancements. Few things like, I guess Google has plans to totally kind of alter the way it handles background processes. So in the effort to improve battery life on devices, and they added this intermediary step with Android N for DOS. Well, eventually, going forward, at some point, they're going to kill all unbound background services, so apps can no longer go rogue. Period. Basically, so somewhere down the line, and probably relatively soon, we're going to see some of those changes, and that's really going to improve things. And then I think a big one is system updates, which essentially is going to be very similar to how Chrome OS does its updates, where it downloads the stuff in the background, it prepares it on a separate partition, and then the next time you reboot, the partitions are just basically swapped. So and you don't have to wait for it to, optimize your apps, all those 200 and some odd apps, at startup, and wait 45 minutes to get on your phone. It's basically going to be instantaneous.
That's the praise hallelujah moment for me.
That's
when
a pretty
they said
good
that.
one.
I mean, I think everyone reacted that way too, as well too. Like that, because I just installed the preview on my tablet, and which I brought back to life, by the way. It was just, it was nice.
With that method, or
with that method,
nice.
yeah.
Excellent.
So to get the background, my Nexus 9, the OTA update for Marshmallow bricked my device.
Same thing happened to me, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
so then I had to basically I just installed the N. I left it at N. I didn't go back to Marshmallow.
Good, because it's on.
Why not?
They say it's a stable beta,
Exactly.
the first kind of beta quality release of N right now. That's why I felt comfortable putting it on my 6P, which is my
that was my
phone,
thought too.
So.
But as even in doing that, because I did it before I/O, so I got the version previous, and it's the optimizing apps, and it's just like, oh my god. Yeah. So it's great to see that go away. So
I was totally like, but I like to see what it's doing in the background.
No, not when it takes 45 minutes to let me use my phone.
No, I updated my phone a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't use my phone for 45 minutes. Like 45 minutes is an eternity during a weekday.
Totally.
Yeah.
I actually updated my 6P on site at I/O, and I was to the end. You did as well.
Yeah.
It failed the first time. It gave me the broken Android logo with the exclamation point, and he's dead on the ground with the hatch open. I was like, wow, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. But then it recovered. It backed itself off. It reinstalled, or it reverted to Marshmallow, and then I tried it again, and then it worked fine. And I agree with you, Jason. This is Sorry, this was the first time I've run a beta that I've felt comfortable just doing on site because I had another phone, and it's run really well, and it's been fun to play with all the new features.
I mean, Google really has made this whole opting into the dev preview thing so incredibly easy. You go to a page and you opt in for this device, and then literally like within 30 seconds you get this notification that says system update. Would you like to install it? And you do, and it reboots, and there it is. You're on the end. So much better.
So painless.
One thing that's important to point out about the what we're talking about here, this like instant update and everything, is that it's actually not going to apply to any current devices. So it's applying to devices moving forward because they actually have to prepare the drive with an extra partition in a different way. And in order to do that with devices that you already have, I think you run the. I mean,
you got to wipe.
You got to wipe it, and I think that kind of challenge for the majority of people is probably too much. To expect anyone to put up with. Maybe there's some risk in that as well for Google. So pretty much guaranteed that the new Nexus devices, whenever they are announced, will have this feature, and that's when you'll notice the change. You won't notice it just by flashing the end.
The Nexus 7 or whatever it is.
Nexus N 2017.
Nexus 6P2.
Whatever it ends up being.
But the big thing about Android N that I know everybody was waiting on the edge of their seats for was what candy was, or what dessert was it going to get named. And I was shocked to find out that Google has no idea. So much so that they're asking us to do it for them. And so they announced that they were opening up the naming of Android N to the public, where there's if you go to android.com/version/name-n.
Or android.com/n works also.
Does that work too? Android.com/n. Yeah, there it is. You can and you can submit your name for what you think it should be. Which I thought was funny, but also like, oh, wow, they really backed themselves into a corner on this one, didn't they?
I know, right? Dang, we didn't think about N.
Just an FYI, this is solely intended to be for entertainment purposes only. It says at the top of the name Android N.
Which is just so upsetting, right?
But
that's legal, though. That's legal. Do they have to say that legally?
Yeah.
I mean,
the names you submit will not be judged, and there will be no prizes or compensation awarded to any participant.
I'm thinking they won't be judged, but they might be picked from.
You think so? You think like maybe unofficially?
If somebody comes up with a really great name,
they're going to be like,
yep.
But
I think they probably already know. I'm guessing they probably already know. There's a finite number of actual end desserts. They probably already looked at a lot of them.
My immediate thought was don't they index all the world's information? Don't they have it? Like
they have a search engine. They can just do a search.
Okay, Google, give me end name desserts.
So, Michael, what do you think? Have you submitted for the letter N, and if so, what was it?
I absolutely have not. Every single candy name that starts with N or dessert name starts with N is something I end up not liking.
Nougat?
Nutter butter. Nougat I can handle in a Three Musketeers or whatever. But what else is there?
You don't like Nutter Butters? What's wrong with you?
No.
Nutter Butters are weird.
That's a weird name. Nutter Butters are weird. I know a lot of people like it. I'm weird, but
no, I'm with you, Michael. I don't like them either. They're weird.
Thank you.
Yeah. I entered Nutella.
Oh, Nutella. No,
obvious choice.
Yeah. And it's a brand. But I just like the idea of Google trying to negotiate with that Italian company that owns Nutella.
Ferrero Rocher.
I'd be down because I like Nutella, and I'd love to eat that on this show because we have a history of eating whatever dessert is once the name is finally announced. So there we go. Another part of Android N is, of course, what we were calling last week Android VR. Turns out it's actually called Daydream. And what is Daydream? Daydream, Google says, is 3 parts. It's the smartphone kind of optimization, essentially. High-quality mobile VR built into Android with Daydream compliant or Daydream ready smartphone devices. So probably your flagships going forward, are going to, if they're Android and they want to make sure that they're current and up to date with everything Android related, they're going to make sure that they are Daydream ready and spec'd out to handle VR. Second part of this is reference design for headset and controller. Google is offering a reference design for what they expect to see. That is a controller in your hand. So it's a two-part thing. You can see right there, it's got kind of a mask. And I know somewhere in there is probably a photo of the controller. And that's for hardware manufacturers to make their own versions of this. Google will also be making its own version of it. So we're going to get essentially a Nexus VR. I mean, that won't be the name possibly, but that's essentially what we'll be getting. And then the third part of this is apps, basically Google Play Store tailored for VR, you know, to be basically navigate all of your VR content from Android in a very specific virtual reality sort of sense, and have, you know, the whole ecosystem built around that.
So we knew VR was going to be a part of this. Were you surprised by the form that it took?
No.
It makes a lot of. I mean, it makes.
Yeah,
a lot
I mean,
of sense.
I mean, did you see a controller coming? Did you see?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a controller is part of the big PC VR consoles. I don't think they're actually called that, and you know.
Yeah.
The difference here, right, is that it's mandated, right? Like you can't make a Daydream headset without using the control pad, isn't that right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think it's all part of kind of the spec. So.
And I think that's the one detail that stuck out to me, because I've used, you know, Gear VR, Samsung's product, and it's, you know, it's fine. But if you don't have a gamepad controller handy and you're trying to show it to even a technically competent person, you know, reaching up here, like to slide a thing alongside your temple, it's tiresome, it's annoying, it doesn't work well. So having the requirement for a controller, I thought was very smart.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It makes it way more functional.
We didn't get the standalone, not connected to phone, not connected to computer headset. But I mean,
but why
honestly,
would they do that?
Really, exactly.
That?
Honestly, that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
That's a different
It's
industry.
a different product. Yeah, it's a different
product.
Yeah.
Let Valve and the game companies deal with that. Let Google come into what they know.
I mean, honestly, I think that Daydream has the potential to get access to a much larger audience than an Oculus or a Vive or, you know, or any of that stuff, because you don't have the requirement of having a intense PC hooked up to this, that, you know, like it's oh great, the phone will come out, the phone will be Daydream compliant, and that's the kind of thing too, is that you know, this is going to be a lot of future phones, you know, like I don't, you know, this Daydream compliance,
and not just like all the super high end phones, like the Alcatel's phones are going to work too, and a couple of other brands.
So you get all these phones out there, and someone wants to buy the headset and buy the controller, then they're off to the races, and they won't have the smooth pixel density of an Oculus Rift and the whole, but the majority of people don't want that. You know, I don't even know I want that. You know, like that kind of scares me. But
I don't know. Our next phones might be 9-inch phablets with 8K displays, and then the display might actually look okay. You know, no big deal. Just my phone. It's VR compliant. It's okay. What else?
How about watches?
Yeah, how about
Android Wear 2.0 that was announced at Google I/O. Actually, yes, it was announced. I have to call back to the keynote. There were a couple things that weren't announced, which we will get to in a bit. But Android Wear 2.0, I got to check it out. I believe it is downloadable right now if you want to use the beta version. But it brings with it handwriting recognition. So you can basically Palm Pilot yourself, Palm Pilot your message to your friends. It's also got a tiny little keyboard that you can use swipe gestures to type out a response.
They're going back on the keyboard thing. Remember,
I know,
that was their line
I feel
in the
like
sand.
so many third-party apps have come out, so they're going to make it happen.
Might as well.
They've also got standalone app support with direct network access via Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or cellular if your watch accepts that. Oh, and the other cool, neat thing, which I'm looking forward to personally, are the watch faces with more notifications on them.
Yeah, pulling in information from different apps.
The watch face designer will have to set that up on their end, and the apps will have to set up the ability to become notifications on their end. But once everybody is working all nice and peacefully together, I look forward to being able to customize what it is exactly that gets flash to me.
Yeah, speaking of that, did you look at any of the UI enhancements when you were checking it out? Because I was looking at a dev model that kept crashing.
Yes.
And, you know, it's very early. But, like, the cards don't appear to be cards anymore. Like, it's a much darker theme. It's sort of reminiscent, more reminiscent to me is like Tizen, like Samsung.
Which should make it easier to see, too, because I will say I had a really hard time seeing my watch, my Asus Zen Watch 2 in that bright sun.
Another problem with the shoreline.
Yeah, but apparently the UI is supposed to be easier to use. It's got a new scrolling mechanism It scrolls like up and down, and then like Michael brought up the new cards motif. So.
Okay, now I just need to get back in the habit of wearing my watch because it's getting like punted around my nightstand and different because I've suddenly stopped caring about it. Oh,
I'm wearing it for steps. That's pretty much it's for steps, and ever since the Mode watch bands came out, because they like easily swap in and out.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm wearing them for all you guys. Don't worry about it.
You're wearing two of them?
I'm doubling up.
Minute?
Cool. Don't worry about it.
What are you wearing?
Captain Two watches.
Moto 360. Yeah, it's a Moto 360 and a Microsoft Band 2. Because my other phone is a Windows phone, and I gotta sync with it.
I cannot believe his other phone is a Windows phone, but that's another show.
I feel like that's a T-shirt. I want a T-shirt that says that my other phone is a Windows phone.
That's a great. I love it. Oh man, that really should be a T-shirt.
It really should. Yeah. Free ideas, Microsoft. There you go.
At least 45 people would buy that shirt.
You'd be one of them. So, yeah.
Oh, no, Windows.
So very cool. Jason really liked that. Wow.
That's great.
That's all right. Hit a home run. All right. So in addition to Android Wear, one of the things I was looking forward to at I/O was any mention at all, just
whatsoever.
anything about Android TV and or Chromecast. And while it didn't make it into the keynote, it did make it eventually at some point at I/O. And they announced a couple of interesting things. First off, new hardware. Sony and Sharp are adding Android TV to their product lines. The Sony 2016 Bravia line, as well as Sharp's Net Player. RCA is coming out with their first Android TV, and Xiaomi is coming up with a 4K set-top box that'll be running Android TV.
I saw that actually.
Yeah, Xiaomi was very excited about that.
There, it's a nice little piece of kit.
Box. And then beyond that, they've got apps coming from CNN, Comedy Central, MTV, Spotify, Stars, ABC. So they're starting to line up the content partners. But they also had some new features that were announced. It's going to support picture-in-picture, so you can play video while you're browsing other content. They are introducing APIs to allow for recording to have DVR-like functionality on Android TV, which would be awesome, as well as support for HDR, high dynamic range, and support which will support 4K UHD video. And then I don't really think they announced anything for Google Cast. They're just
it's cool.
It's great. It's working perfect.
Chromecast is great. It'll cast anything to anything, and that was basically it. Yeah. So
what do you expect us to do? It's already perfect.
Yeah. Nailed it.
They should have just done that. They should have just been like, nailed it.
But here's the thing though, and we're gonna talk about it after the break. But I think the value of what the groundwork they've laid with Chromecast comes to life with the Google Home announcement.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
So that's a tease for you.
Sure.
Yeah. So
yes.
So I'll give them a pass on having nothing to announce for Google Cast because I feel like that they're playing the long game with Google Cast.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Picture-in-picture on Android TV is nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I need to get my hands on one of these Android TV boxes. Even though I'm so Chromecasty, I'm so Google casting.
Yeah.
That's my life now. So I don't know, but if I had a set-top box, maybe it would change my life.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It would just fix all my problems.
I don't think it's going to change your life.
Oh, well.
I wanted to say thank you to Ron for reminding me that the RCA mark is still in use somewhere. It's not the Radio Corporation of America anymore. It's licensed by Sony and Technicolor to firms like Vox and TCL. So maybe it's TCL who built that TV. I got to look that up because I'm an RCA nerd.
But here's the question: did they still use the dog looking into the
nipper?
Yeah, into the gramophone.
Oh, yeah. They should. They should bring that logo back.
That's classic. It's an American. It's an American original. David Sarnoff. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know a lot about that logo.
I feel like it was like 2 weeks in college on telecommunication history was all on RCA and David Sarnoff.
I played David Sarnoff in a play last summer, actually.
And you remember college?
20 years ago. For some reason, in some corner in there is that week of class that I remember.
Yeah.
So.
What about cars?
Yes, we got a lot of car stuff. This stuff was not mentioned in the keynote, which was kind of a bummer because I was personally hoping for it. But Android Auto is getting a huge update once Android N comes to fruition. So first off, what do we have here that we are showing on screen is the Maserati Ghibli that was being shown off at Google I/O. You could sit inside it and check out what Android Auto is like when it's built literally into your dash. Now, this isn't the Android Auto that you would get with a set-top box.
So cool. I meant to stop by here and check this out, but I did not get a chance to see it.
So we've got, I had to actually set up an appointment for this, BT Dubs. And so what we did is, or what they have going on here is they have a 4K 15-inch screen in the middle of the car, and this gives you access. So Android N is going to actually have access to things like HVAC controls and power locks, and so you can program it to take care of all the car's innards. And then the other parts, like the entertainment part and the maps, that's all handled by Android Auto. So it's kind of like this split screen sort of multi-environment.
But all based on Android.
All based on Android.
All the controls.
And based on Android N. And then on the behind the wheel, we have a 720p screen that just shows you some basic information, like the music you're listening to, your next direction, how fast you're going,
how much gas you have left.
how much gas
I'm just wondering.
you have,
I don't know.
all the important things.
Check engine light.
I don't know if the check engine, I guess it's up to the manufacturer, but the idea is that the manufacturers can take this, car manufacturers, and do what they will the way that phone manufacturers have taken Android and skinned it to oblivion.
Now, just imagine when Michael gets this Maserati and he pulls up and he plugs it in to update it to the latest version, and he gets the little Android on his side with the thing open, and then your car doesn't start.
Actually, that was going to be one of my questions. Like, how responsive was it? This is one of the lines we waited in for what seemed like 2.5 hours. And the moment our butts hit the seats, the thing ran out of power or something. And all the
You didn't get to feel the butt massager inside the Ghibli.
We got to feel nothing. I was sitting
There's
there in
a
a dead piece of
massager.
steel. So I want to know how responsive is the software? Because like I said, I spent 2 days in a Tesla before this, and I'm always amazed sitting in a Tesla how kind of stuttery and not very fluid the software is. So was it? I mean, I know it's early, but was it?
It was really responsive, but I'm not particularly sold on having this kind of functionality in my car because I did a history of touchscreen featurette a couple years ago for Ars Technica, and I had actually talked to Bill Buxton about, he had said that like it's very difficult in cars to have touchscreens because your memory of what's tangible and reachable out in front of you is very different than what you would be tapping. And so I saw the way that the interface was moving in this particular version of Android Auto, and the way like it would just shift around the screen, the cards and the widgets. And it just felt to me like it's not a very organic experience. Like it's not something that I'm used to using. So the software ran great. The butt massagers worked flawlessly.
Good.
But I'm not thoroughly convinced on having these two like massive touchscreens in my car.
Let me ask you a question, Flo. Why do you hate the future?
I don't completely hate the future. I don't completely hate the future. So there's another Android Auto update that's coming out when Android N comes out, and it's for your phone.
Nice.
So this is going to let
That's what
you
you want.
run Android Auto completely off your phone, and
Great.
it'll hook up to your car's Bluetooth. So like me, for instance, I have phone capabilities in my car, so that'll be I'll be able to handle that. I have a little dongle that's hooked up to run music through my car speakers, so that'll work. But all the maps and the apps, that's all just going to be usable on your phone.
Good.
Just like that.
I wondered why they didn't do this when they. Oh, nice little AAA plug.
Yeah.
I wondered why they didn't do
I
this.
did that,
when
by
they
the
first.
way. I set it up like that when I took the picture.
Well done.
I was like, oh, do you listen to? So I had two Android Auto engineers sitting in my backseat of my car, by the way, while we were doing this. They do have All About Android on their on their podcast playlist, Pocket Cast playlist.
Oh, that's the biggest question about Google I/O is did you corner Sundar and is he a fan?
We did not corner Sundar, but we did corner Hiroshi.
We did.
Ooh. And had he
chatted with
ever
Hiroshi.
and had he ever heard of the show?
Oh my God, yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
He watches
Not only has he heard of the show.
I hope he's watching right now.
Don't tease me. Don't tease me with this.
I'm not. He's like, yeah, I know who you are. And I was like,
Go ahead, throw it on there, Brian. Hiroshi may have had some
There he
words to
is.
say. Basically, I know all about Android, and I know that you guys have a jib jab of me.
No, really?
Yeah, pretty much.
yes, because I met Hiroshi. We spoke for 15 minutes, and I was so excited. And I was like, Hiroshi, I have to go find Jason Howell. And so I left, and I went and I found Jason. I had like 3 people trying to help me find Jason Howell, by the way.
Which is
hilarious
surprisingly
because everyone
I
was
was
saying
not
he's so
feeling
tall.
well that
How could you not?
find him?
I was feeling very under the weather that day.
Yeah, but I
you
found
me.
you and I
found me.
grabbed you now, and I took you away from a conversation. And I'm sorry for the people I took you away
With
from. I
the
believe
Android
it was
Central
Android
folks.
Central.
It was like I
folks.
had just got there and started
Sorry.
talking to them, and suddenly you come in and you're like, Jason,
I had an agenda.
I was like,
I was like, you have to come meet Hiroshi, and I grabbed him and I brought him over.
but I'm
and I
happy
was
you
like,
did,
He
'cause I got to
actually
talk.
acknowledged the
Hiroshi,
fact that he
Jason.
knows that we have his
Yes.
picture
Yes.
and that we've done that. That's amazing.
Yes.
I'm so upset I missed that.
yes.
it was pretty awesome.
And I also awkwardly called Rick Osterloh Mr. Osterloh, so I apologize for that.
You could call
Mr.
him a lot
Osterloh.
worse, I'm sure. Mr. Osterloh.
Well, I interrupted him. I was just very excited.
I know
to
you
see
were
him.
very excited. I will give you that.
So I get very excited around executives.
Anyone who watches this show knows Flo gets excited about things.
I get very excited about the executives because we don't get a chance to really interface with them.
It's great interface.
And so it's nice to have them there and to geek out with them about a product that they work very hard on.
Yeah.
Next time,
So,
just be sure to call him Captain Rick.
I know. I should have called him Captain
That's how
Rick.
all the folks that work for Rick, that's what they call him.
I wanted to be respectful.
Sure.
Well,
Or make him feel
I
old.
wanted to be respectful. Or I didn't mean to make him feel old.
I can't believe Hiroshi acknowleded that we exist. This is amazing.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It was pretty great. I
Ron's having
kind
a
of didn't know what
moment.
to say after that, but pretty excellent. Real quick, not to shortchange any of the actual developer-related stuff here, but Android Studio 2.2 is a preview of Android Studio 2.2 was released. New layout designer, which they say is easier and faster. There's automated test recorder for recording how the app is used, and you can actually play that back on other platforms, so you can kind of cut down the time on testing across multiple platforms and see how they respond. APK analyzer for actually analyzing the code for problem areas, things like inflated resource sizes, poor layout decisions, all that kind of stuff. That you can actually get today. You could get it right as they announced it that day. Also, Firebase was a really big deal. And I wish that I knew a whole lot more about Firebase because, man, they had a lot of sessions on Firebase.
My friend, actually, a friend of mine, has been in this Firebase team for a couple of years and has been keeping it a secret from me every time I see him. And I ran into him in I.O. and he's like, this is what I've been working on.
Anyone here equipped to talk about Firebase? I mean, it's like
I like the logo.
It's a cloud backend service. It features storage, analytics, authentication, messaging, reporting, push notifications, and management.
There we go.
And from what I understand, you can run it on an Android device because they had a literal chest of Android devices that were fueling Firebase.
Okay.
Oh, there was that server rack you showed in your video.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Just full
Okay.
of smartphones instead.
Thank
Yeah,
you
that
for
was
watching
cool.
my video, Mr. Fisher.
Yes, yeah. So I do my research. I just like watching your videos anyway.
Oh, yay.
Yes. Yeah. No, I sat in on a Firebase session because I wanted to get in early for the next one, and I
Not because you wanted to learn about Firebase.
That's
No,
fine.
well, I sort of did. I tried, and then I was not equipped. So I'm sorry I can't help with Firebase, but it seems really awesome.
Yeah, everybody was super stoked about it. Google acquired Firebase in 2014, didn't really push out any meaningful updates, and then suddenly at this I.O., they pushed out all the updates in the flippin' world. So there you go. A couple of things that I got really excited about.
Yes.
I'm sure you guys did too. Android Instant Apps.
Yes.
This is the
Very
future.
cool.
This is the future of mobile, y'all.
This is really cool, and I got it's pretty awesome stuff. You do a search for something, let's say BuzzFeed, or let's say a shopping site. Like I think they use B&H as an example.
They did, yes.
And you might not always have B&H, the app, installed on your device, but the app experience is very nice. It might be nicer than the web experience. So you do a search for this thing on B&H. When you click through to it, instead of taking you to the mobile web page, it actually downloads just the code from the app that makes up that particular part of the experience. So you can do that sort of stuff through the app experience instead. And if you like it, you tap install and it installs over. But if you don't want to install it, you don't have to. You finish what you were doing and move on. Great opportunity for developers, I think.
I really hope United Airlines uses this because I don't want their app installed all the time. I just want it installed when I need my boarding pass.
Totally.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
My candidate for when we talk about apps later on it's a perfect candidate for this. But this seems like the one moment of I.O. that everyone kind of looked around and was like, oh my God, because this seems to be the next evolution of what the app model is, and that's really exciting from an architectural standpoint.
Yep.
Very cool. And then this might have been kind of, in my opinion, the highlight of the show. I think this is a big deal.
But it wasn't done during the keynote, which was very disappointing.
Well, it was originally planned to be.
Oh, did you get some insider info?
No, there was something on the schedule that day before, the day of the keynote, a session that says, as we showed off at the keynote, you can now bring the Play Store into Chromebook. And so that was kind of telling. They ended up doing this event on day 2, which was the announcement, and then they kicked everybody out of unless you were press. So that was
sorry about that, by the way.
which was kind of crazy and very awkward. But basically, it's the real deal. So before last year, they announced at Google I/O that you could bring Android apps in, but it required devs to kind of code for it using Arc, and it was kind of a way to make it happen, but it wasn't maybe the easiest thing in the world. Well, now with this new implementation, when it rolls out later this year, Android apps run natively in their own Linux container. So it's a windowed environment. So on your Pixel 2, let's say, you could, load up the Play Store, find an Android app, like for Microsoft Word, for example. They showed that off as one of the examples in the announcement. And you can use it just like any other app in Chrome. And I don't know, the more I saw it, the more I really kind of thought about it, the more excited I got about just the fact that like Android as itself is not a great multitasking environment in this form factor with a keyboard, my opinion. Some people probably have differing opinions. But now if you got a touchscreen Chromebook, you don't need a tablet. Like that can be your Android tablet, really, because you can do almost all the things that you could do with an Android tablet, with all the apps and everything.
What's the point of the Pixel C?
Well,
it's a nice piece of hardware.
I guess it is a nice piece of hardware.
It's a nice Android tablet.
But
it's a nice piece of hardware without a reason to live.
Yeah, I can't wait to get rid of this and get like a small Chromebook that's just going to be able to do all of that.
Why apologize? I bet you the chat room would love it if you got rid of it. I know.
Well, I'm holding on to this because I paid for it, but
but it's more fun. But the thing is also, but it's more functional.
But it's basically a glorified Chromebook at this point because I literally only use Chrome OS on this thing. I have no apps installed on it because I have very little room. And I can't wait to just have a Chromebook that I can have as my to-go computer, and then just have like a nice PC at home, with all the major programs that I need, like Lightroom and all that. But anyway, those things are already on mobile. You've got Lightroom and Photoshop.
Yeah.
Just as capable almost.
All right.
So exciting. I was so excited.
It's a paradigm change.
Yeah.
It's good. So.
Wow, we've spent a lot of time on the first block. We've got a lot else to talk about. We'll have to maybe skip through the next things a little bit faster. But before we get there, let's talk about shaving. What do you think? It's time to thank the sponsor of this episode. That is Harry's. I know, my history with shaving, I wouldn't say that I have necessarily, loved the cuts and the scrapes that come with shaving over the years. I do it because I have to. Well, it turns out that what you actually need is, a shaving kit that's any good. And that's what I've realized since using Harry's, that my old shaving kit was not any good. Harry's makes high-quality, high-performance German blades. They're crafted by shaving experts. They feel really nice. And, I can say personally, it's the best shave I've had in years, possibly ever. Harry's is factory direct, so the blades are about half the price of the leading brands. They ship right to your doorstep, so you don't have to deal, with the lines at the drugstore or wait for someone to unlock the plexiglass counter, because why are those things in plexiglass counters? I have no idea, but they are.
Because they're so expensive.
I guess so. It's weird. It's like you're getting a top shelf liquor or something. Yeah. Getting started with Harry's couldn't be easier. Over 1 million guys have made the switch to Harry's. You should check out their website. It's streamlined. It's easy to use. It takes less than 30 seconds to place an order. You just hop on, get it, and go. Excellent customer service experience. If you have any issues, you can get in touch with them. They'll make sure that you're happy. Now, I have the Truman set at home. I have a couple of Truman sets at home, actually. Super high quality. They also have a Winston set, which is like a step up. The blades are super sharp. Provide a close, comfortable shave. And you just get a lot in the box. A razor handle that has just a great look and feel. Extra razor blades, shaving cream, or foam shaving gel, if you prefer. And it all smells really nice. The products look super sleek, and the best part, it costs half as much as those other razor brands that you might have been using. All this is shipped to your door, so you don't have to really work for it. You just kind of open the door. That's the work you have to do. You open the door, And then you pick up the box.
You got to open the box.
You got to open the box. All right. I
open
guess
the box, unpack it, but it's so worth it.
So why pay $32 for an 8-pack of blades when you can get it for half the price at Harry's.com? Harry's starter set, the Truman set, the one I have, is a great option for new customers and an amazing deal. For just $15, you get a razor handle, moisturizing shave cream, 3 of Harry's 5-blade German engineered razors. Plus, there's a special offer for fans of this show. Harry's will give you $5 off your first purchase when you visit harrys.com/AAA. That's harrys.com/AAA. Stop compromising. Give Harry's a try today. And we thank Harry's for their support and my clean close shave.
I used it today. I shaved this morning with my Harry's blade and shaving cream. And
I'm tempted to... No.
Just do it. Just do it.
I mustn't. No, we're going to talk about news instead. Thank you, Harry's, for your support. Okay, this next block is full of interesting future-looking things.
I mean, what's interesting is that like the stuff that we talked about was all big and monumental, but like this is the stuff that got me most excited about I/O.
Yeah. So, all right, we all like Google Now. What about Google Now, the next generation, TNG? Google Now TNG is Google Assistant.
It'd be cooler if they called it Google TNG, to be honest with you.
That would be pretty
Google
cool.
DS9.
Yeah. It was really funny to see Sundar go through this because at first they announced Google Assistant. I'm like, a lot of this was, this seems very Google Now-y capability. But then as it went along, I realized where they were going with it. So I don't know.
It's like they had a whole story.
They really told the story.
There was a really good arc, and they started with Google Assistant. It's conversational digital assistant. So they really kind of stressed the fact that this isn't you learning necessarily a syntax on talking to your device, but rather just having a conversation with it, and it can kind of parse all the important information. It can remember the thing that you talked about 2 prompts ago, and remember that that's what you mean when you say he.
So what was the example was who directed The Revenant? And then it goes, The Revenant was directed by Alejandro Inarritu. And then the next question was, what awards has he won? Mm-hmm. And then it comes back and says best. And so that, it might seem simple because it's a conversation, the kind of thing that we have all the time. But for machines to do that is really like, for it to know that like what awards has he won is referring to the question you just asked previously. That's super complicated and it's freaky. It's the beginning of the singularity.
I was just thinking all of that when you were saying that. Actually, I was just like,
it's really cool, though. It's really cool.
Robot
This is where it's all headed right now.
Yeah, and they stressed the number of years that they've been indexing information. They stretched the number of years that they've been experimenting and working with voice. And the whole idea is that this is the culmination of all that work. Like, I got the sense that this is like all that stuff we've been doing, we've been laying the groundwork, and it's now for this.
They even threw some shade at Siri at the end. They didn't say Siri specifically, but I knew they were talking about Siri. They said other personal assistants.
Yeah, well, they were. I hate the shade thing, but they were. They were.
He doesn't like your terminology.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's not flow. I just want to be clear. It's not flow. It's culture in general. They weren't afraid to throw punches. Like
finally,
in the next bit when we talk about Google, not next bit, but in the next piece where we talk about
easy way
where we talk about Google Home, they specifically called out Amazon in a snarky way. They're like, Amazon's done a lot of work in this area too, and now we're doing better. It was just like it was very. I like the bravado of it. So,
yeah.
Why not? Everybody does it to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Tim Cook calls them out all the Android is so insecure. It's like, all right, guys.
Yeah. What do you think, Michael? Google Assistant awareness API for developers to kind of tap into all this stuff underneath.
No, this was great, but it was also very familiar is my problem. I think the last time we had a major Android event that we talked for a long time about Google Now, or they did on stage, we were already like they were laying the expectations for this stuff, this contextual stuff. In fact, I think I saw that same conversation demonstrated. It was like, or it was a different one. It was like, who's the president of the United States? And it's like Barack Obama. How tall is he? And then it was the same exact thing. So that was sort of a reminder phase. So I was kind of like, okay. It wasn't until later when we got in to see what we're going to be talking about in a second. How
Let's just do it.
Into other stuff. Yeah.
Let's just do it. Michael, tell me why Google Home is awesome.
Oh, that. Oh, see, I was going to skip over that because I don't care about that.
Oh man, no, but it's so awesome. It's so cool.
All
right, never mind, Michael.
I'm going to steal Michael's thing. Before IO and our IO preview show and Michael Wolfson and Liam Spradlin were here, Michael actually called out and said one of the things he's looking forward to is to see Google doing stuff in the home. And we talked about, and we hope for it every year, much like my hopes with Android TV. We've had some, almost false starts where they showed the home, but nothing ever came through. So at Google I/O, they announced Google Home, which is essentially a Amazon Echo killer. It is a device that will go in your home. It looks like an air freshener.
It does.
Actually, I think the design is really nice. And
if you like air freshener.
If you like air,
it looks like an essential oil diffuser.
Yeah, it's a diffuser.
Yeah,
Exactly. But it's a customizable device that you can change the color and the look of it based to go with your home decor. I sound like I'm pitching it.
You do. The Google should hire you.
But essentially, it's that bottom half of it is a speaker. And the top half of it has those little LED lights and microphones. And I don't know if we have the video that they showed or if they posted that or not. But I thought the demo was really compelling, where they showed this device in the home and just sitting there. The dad wakes up and he's like, "Hey Google, play music in the kids' rooms." And then music starts playing in the kids' rooms, and they wake up and he's making breakfast. And one kid goes to the TV and goes, "Google, how many stars are there in the world?" And this is the whole video.
And kid, why are you doing your homework right before leaving for school?
Well,
you should have done it last night.
I was often doing my homework in the cafeteria before school started. So
yeah.
I know I was too in high school. I'm like,
but yeah, no, I thought this whole, so it's basically home is there. It's always listening, always judging. But it's and so she's packing for a trip, and she's like, "Okay, Google, is my flight delayed?" It's like, "No, your flight's not delayed." And then it says, "I have a text message for you." It says, "Okay, I'm listening," and it reads the text message back. Like, it just, like, this is what I've been waiting for. And then when they leave the house, the kid says, "Bye, Google," and Google says goodbye, and then it turns the lights off, brings the heat down. Yeah, it's got hooks into Nest and into other smart home devices.
Right.
It's got hooks into entertainment. It's got a speaker in its device so it can play music or podcasts. But you could also, if you have, and this is what we're saying earlier, if you have Chromecast or Chromecast Radio or a TV with Chromecast or anything like that, you could say, "Hey, play the Decemberists in the living room." And it'll put the music on in the living room.
I have 2 Chromecast audios, and I can't wait to not have to pull out my phone to operate it. Yeah.
So I'm so excited about this, because this is the little piece that will take everything that you can do on your phone or on your tablet or on your computer with Google and put it just alive in your house, and that's awesome. That's the future.
Works.
And you can customize the color to match your decor.
Yeah,
that's a really good way to put it, Ron. Like, alive in your house is, I think, what a lot of people have become fixated on when talking about this thing. And it's the conversation that started with Alexa. Like, I am not necessarily totally creeped out by it, but I am thinking an awful lot about having this thing in my house that is constantly listening. Yes, I have a phone in my pocket that's constantly listening for a key phrase, but something that's in my house that has unlimited power and is listening all the time. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's a fair thing, and it's something that we're gonna have to evolve with in terms of accepting. And I had this conversation with a friend of mine post Google I/O. We're talking about it. I said, yeah, but every time one of these things happen, the concern about Google listening or having my information comes up. And my counter to that is, it's a value proposition. I give Google access to that stuff to give me services and information in return, and they have not failed to deliver in my mind. I think Google Now was a huge step. Yeah. Jason sends an email, plans for the show tomorrow, and I get Google Now, put this in your calendar. It is working with the data of my life and enabling me to live a more productive, informed lifestyle.
It's true.
Thanks for doing that, Google, because otherwise Ron would have totally forgotten about the show.
I know, right?
I really think I'm supposed to be somewhere. I don't know.
Man, a Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. I don't know.
I think the privacy concerns of having a device that's listening in your house and recording and all that stuff is fine, but it's an agreement you're going into, and you get something out of it, and so that's how I justify it. Plus, also, my life isn't that interesting. So
right, and I mean, it's not inherently wrong or anything. I'm certainly not, but I've been absolutely great with that agreement up until now, because I've been providing data to Google while I'm sitting in front of a computer or while I'm entering stuff into a phone. But now I'm in a situation now where I could possibly have an air freshener or whatever in my house that can hear me no matter where I am, and no matter what I'm doing. And I have nothing to hide, but I also have a ton of stuff I don't want other people like seeing or listening to or hearing. Even I think if it's a sufficiently intelligent machine. So I don't know. Maybe this is a longer conversation. Than
we might have to talk after the show, Michael, to hear about what you've been up to.
Ron and I literally raise our eyebrows and look at each other.
Wow. But what I think is interesting about this, though, is it's funny because people love the Amazon Echo. People love it, right? And this is essentially the same thing, but with all of Google behind it. Like,
which is what I want, because I don't care about Amazon. Sorry,
right?
I want Google. That's the life I'm in. That's what I've.
That's why I think Google Home is like one of the biggest things from I/O, because it is a major step into the lives of their users, and it has the power to blow away Amazon.
Launching sometime later this year, they say.
With no price point.
No price point.
And no essential oil diffuser attached to it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it won't smell as good.
That's the only thing that annoyed me about these announcements was that they announced this, a lot of stuff, and then the next thing we talk about, and they're all like, coming later.
Yep. Google I/O this year was a Google I/O of coming laters, of TBDs.
Yep.
By the way, we are working on all this stuff. And also, by the way,
there's so much
as far as Google Home, I don't know how we're going to do it. We might have to kill the actual news block because I think we're going to run out of time. Yeah. The Google Home will only work with one synced account at launch.
Oh.
So if it's a shared device.
That's not cool.
That's going to be a challenge. They say they're working on it, but at launch, it's only going to work with one.
I call dibs in my household.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's see if we can roll this snowball a little bit faster here. Yeah. Allo and Duo, two apps that were announced that sound very familiar.
But are not replacing Hangouts.
Which is weird.
Which is so weird. But I am excited for them. I like the features that are coming with them.
Yeah.
I think Allo looks great. Well, Allo looks awesome.
Okay, so Allo is a smart messaging app. Based on your phone number, so you don't need a Google account. Has stickers, has draw on your photos before sending, dynamic resizing of text, so you can whisper it or you can shout. But I think the big key here and why this ties into everything is Google Assistant built in, so it does smart reply for your messaging and your photos. So you can get a photo of a dog, and it's going to know that that's a dog, and one of your smart replies will be, "Aw, that dog is cute," or whatever.
So it's basically a WhatsApp killer or WhatsApp with the power of Google behind it.
Yeah.
And
so
that's
like
the challenge.
And so the use case, the smart replies I don't really like as much because it's like I feel as if I have a very unique way of communicating, and I don't feel
But it knows how
no
you.
AI
But supposedly,
knows.
I'll be curious.
No
Yeah.
AI
But
knows.
what I thought was really interesting was the Google Assistant integration. So like if the three of us are having a chat talking about after the show we can go to dinner and say what do we want to get? Flo says, I want Italian. We could say, hey Google, what Italian places are by us, it's basically it's like the Facebook bot stuff, but like way more powerful.
Yeah,
it will give you search results within the context of your chat. It will let you make reservations within the context of your chat. Basically, all the stuff that you could do with Google Assistant, kind of with Google Now, in the chat. So that's awesome.
Can I just ask something really quick? I know we're moving quickly, but as the resident, apparently 75-year-old man here, it's not creepy to anyone else that you at Google in the chat as though Google was another entity sharing the chat space with you.
No, that stood out for me. That Google has moved from being a company to being a person in your life.
I mean, you wear it on your wrist. You have it in your back pocket.
I'm cool. I'm cool with it.
I mean,
always with me.
You got
Always
it on your tablet.
Always watching. Always listening. Always judging.
This is somehow, this is somehow another level though, because now it's in the chat channel with you. Yeah. I don't know. It's getting.
Well, no, but the thing is, it's an efficiency thing. Because how often you're like chatting, like, where do you want to go eat? I got to leave the chat, go to a browser, type an Italian restaurant.
True.
I'm doing it anyway. Yeah. So.
Right. No. Yeah, you're right.
I liked Allo. I liked Allo. I'm excited about it. I don't understand why it's not killing Hangouts, but that's just me.
We also got to look at.
Eventually they will. Go ahead. Sorry, Flo.
Sorry.
No, it's my bust.
We also got to look at Duo, which is the new video chat client coming out from Google. This one's going to do video calls with a little preview that lets you know what the person on the other end is trying to call you about, which will be nice for those days when you're at home in your PJs and you're just not feeling particularly social. But you want to know, why the heck is this person bothering me? Well, it's because they had a baby. So you really do have to announce. You really do have to answer it. Duo will also use your phone number, so it's mobile only. It'll have what I was referring to is called the knock knock preview. No video conference mode, which is nice. It'll be really lightweight, only 5 megabytes, which will make it super fast. And it'll work for iOS and Android, which will be great.
Which I thought was key. Which is basically, I feel like I'm referring to all these stuff that they announced are Google's blank killer. but this is their FaceTime killer. I mean, this is like
because I'm sorry, friends, I'm not going to use FaceTime because I don't have an iPhone or an iPad, and I'm not getting one. I love you all though.
Right. But also, I think people who use FaceTime in
Please
public are
download
just
Duo.
weirdos anyway. People are walking around doing.
Oh my God, people on BART every day using. Oh my God.
So
Well, you gotta hold it up like that though, because if you hold it down here and everybody gets here like this angle,
I know.
I think a horrible name, but I think the knock knock feature is that's really cool.
I like that.
Because the idea is someone's calling you and until you answer you can see them but they can't see you. So if they're there and they're with someone you don't like, you don't have to answer the phone.
Oh, that's also true.
Yeah, I think that's great.
About that.
But from a technology standpoint, if you watched in the demo and they did it live, you say answer and there's no hiccup. There's no jump. It's like as if you open up your window
already.
pane. Yeah.
It's already.
And then he hung up on his daughters.
Yeah, really interesting. Yeah. So, anyway, cool stuff.
All right, and
Your favorite part, ATAP.
I think finally we are at the ATAP block, which we can blast through. Oh no!
Oh, I see this. I know.
There's so many interesting things. Okay,
Well,
but
to
you
be
wrote about this.
a lot of the stuff was ATAP wasn't announced. A lot of the stuff last year, and this year they showed like the actual.
This is like the year of
prototypes.
making it happen.
Yeah, Levi's is coming out with the Project Jacquard, like smart fabric, which is going to be super neat.
The demo on that jacket was pretty cool. Yeah, a Levi's denim jacket that
it's hot. It's hot.
Has a touch panel on it that's just woven into the fabric, which is at the core of what Jacquard is.
Boss. Yes.
It's hot as in cool, not hot as in keeps you warm.
It will hopefully keep you warm as well. I felt the fabric last year. It felt really nice.
Yeah, it feels like denim. It just has a little bit of extra kind of ridges to it, but
we also have Project Abacus, which sounds like what it sounds like, which uses different phone sensors to authenticate you.
There we go.
And Abacus ideas turn into Trust API for developers so that they can use that integrated into their apps. There's also Project Soli, which is optimized for use in smartwatches. At I/O, they demonstrated it with a modified LG Watch Urbane. They also showed it inside an JBL stereo kit.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, just the kind of
The
interaction.
ability
Actually, underneath this in the dock, Brian, is video linked right to the point in YouTube where it starts to show it off. Yeah, so this is kind of a demonstration of the idea behind it, and like 30 seconds later, he shows it with a real watch.
They announced this last year, and they talked about the concept of it, but this year they're actually it's seeing it live is pretty neat.
So when your hand gets closer to the watch, it actually changes the state of things.
You do not have to touch the watch to make it do things.
That's cool.
Which is amazing.
Badass.
And
Look at that.
Look at that.
pretty neato.
That beta dev kit is going to come out next year. So sorry, guys. We're going to be waiting for a little bit longer, but it's kind of cool.
That's like
just to see it.
Minority Report stuff going on there.
Yeah. Yep.
He's manipulating like a digital crown that isn't there.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then they show it off on the real watch. But very cool. And that was one of those things that last year you saw them showing off and you're like, when are we actually going to see any of this? You know, they have plans to bring this into a smartwatch. A year later, they've like shrunk the size like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's embedded into an LG watch or pane. So
no biggie.
I don't know.
And lastly, from the ATAP world, we have 2 weeks now until we will see our Project Tango smartphone come from Lenovo at Lenovo World. But before then, Google was doing some demos to show us how the heck you can actually use Project Tango in the real world. I got to do one of those demos, which was awesome. I got to see how you can use a Project Tango tablet and the apps to measure furniture in your home or see how big an appliance is before you buy it from like the Lowe's app, or see how big a piece of furniture is before you put it into your home.
That was cool. The spatial
it was really neat.
That's
like,
and you can walk around it with the tablet and see like how it looks behind it. It was so cool. I really loved the games that they were showing. One was called Phenomena. Phenomena. And yeah, exactly. And that one was fun because you could like insert little AR objects into your world, as we're seeing right here on the video. Sorry for those of you listening to the audio. There was also one which they ended up doing a game with late at night. I believe it was called Fantogeist, and you could like blast through the wall in your home, and like aliens were living behind there, and you had to like blast them out. You know, it was very silly but very fun, and just like a cool way to see Project Tango and how it could be used in the real world.
I really liked the dinosaur thing that they showed off.
I didn't mention that in the video, but yes.
Yeah, they basically have this dinosaur selector, so it maps your space, and then you could say Tyrannosaurus Rex. They drop a Tyrannosaurus Rex in the middle of the room, and it's like kind of small. He's like, yep, that's 10% of its normal size.
Yeah,
they blow it up, and you start to get the real sense by looking through what is essentially a window into this world, their tablet, of kind of the actual scale of like Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it was just really cool. It gave me goosebumps.
I wonder if this is going to be like, if they're going to. I think they're going to try and get this adopted into schools finally.
That'd be
like
good.
Have this replace Chromebooks. Be like, hey, we'll swap out your Chromebooks for a Project Tango tablet.
There was a lot of what I saw in the Tango demonstration that reminded me of the limited stuff that we've seen with, what is the VR, the crazy funded VR thing that we've only seen?
Magic Leap.
A lot of it had very interesting similarities.
Yeah. Did you read that Wired, the cover story Wired last month? Yeah, the Magic Leap, that's crazy.
Yes. So, well, yeah. And I mean, a lot of what they showed, I was like, well, yeah, I feel like I saw this with Magic Leap stuff. Yeah. So it's like we're tackling the same thing.
What about my favorite ATAP project?
I think this is the last I.O. mark we have.
All right, so did you see Project Ara? Or did you see any of it?
I didn't see it in person.
Well, so a lot of news coming out of Project Ara and specifically the design is a bit more limited than last year, which I think makes sense because they're progressing it and refining it, and it's getting closer to being a reality. There's no lag, and for those who don't know, Project Ara is the modular cell phone or modular smartphone. So the back of it's got little panels that you can add and add modules or remove them, like a camera or a scanner or anything like that. Now they've got to the point where there's no lag on plugging in modules and using them. So basically hot swapping, which is great.
That was a cool demonstration.
Yeah, and then and in the demo there, actually you can tell Google, you say, okay, Google, eject the camera, and it will pop out the module itself.
And it was like 1 second later, the camera went click, and it just popped out. And everybody, I mean, that was like the biggest applause in the room, which was kind of nerdy. I love it.
It's great.
I love that everybody got that excited about that.
I mean, everything I saw coming out of the Project Ara demo looked, I mean, I love this because I think it's so neat. And I think it's the kind of thing where the average person just doesn't, no, I don't need that. Why would I want that? And we talked a lot about the accessories world that we're trying to build, but the potential to take devices and as opposed to, like a UPS, this could replace the UPS thing that you signed for.
Oh, absolutely.
Or medical usages or things like that. All the different modules that can be made to go for these things. It could be a really, really neat platform.
And it'll be great for the developing markets as well. Emerging markets rather.
They want these
modules. That was the original intention, is to have them being in emerging markets. They were supposed to pilot test it in Puerto Rico.
That's right.
Yeah,
you're right.
But
so they were going to do those food truck-like things, right? Those distribution.
But then they canceled it. Yeah,
Puerto Rico has their own share of.
Well, I think also the product wasn't ready.
And the product wasn't ready.
Yeah, let's not blame Puerto Rico.
I'm not blaming Puerto Rico, just for clarification.
Blame Puerto Rico. Yes, Kyle in chat points out will not be able to change the screen, the CPU, or the RAM. They also
you need a base. You need a base,
right? And that gives them something that they can upgrade over time, right? And they do want these modules to be swappable between old and new versions. So you buy a module and it can kind of live with.
I like the little one with the little mini display that gives you the weather. You can use that for notifications. I mean, there's just so much possibilities with this. I love it. So
that's Google I/O in a nutshell.
In an hour-long nutshell.
I said last week there's going to be so much recap because there's just a lot to talk about.
It was a good I/O.
Yay, nay. Google I/O 2016. Yay, nay.
Yay.
You can't say nay.
Yay.
Okay. This was a good year, and there were a lot of people who were saying, "Oh, well, it was kind of boring because nothing really came out of it." But we just spent an hour talking about it.
Yeah, so much came out of it.
So much came. We're exhausted just talking about it.
Yeah. That's part of it.
We've never been that kind to hold back.
Yes.
And the parties really did look like a lot of fun, by the way.
Oh! I totally forgot to mention this was the year that I officially am old. Because I'm there and this year. Good one. I liked it. That was good. Point to flow. So I'm sitting, missing out and being all bummed. I'm looking through Instagram, and I saw the first night I saw our good friend Josh Vergara post who the musical guest was, and I literally looked at it and went, I have no idea who that is.
I had no idea who it was either. I had no idea who it was either, except for Charlie XCX.
I know.
But the thing
saw
was,
the posters,
the thing was, is then this past Friday, I get my latest issue of Entertainment Weekly, and in the music section, there is a little capsule of like Kygo's playlist or whatever. So clearly, it was some Swedish DJ named Kygo.
Norwegian.
Or same thing. I'm sorry. I know it's different. But
what about Charlie XCX?
I don't know who that is.
Boom.
I
don't care. She's part of Iconopop.
It was the most annoying song in the world. I went to that thing. I was like, who is this band? Oh, they're the band that every single song they do the same kind of singing to. And then I knew I was old because I was like, man, what am I doing? What have I done with my life to deserve this?
Oh, I've wasted my life. So,
yeah.
Well, let's not waste any more time.
Hey, there were a lot of people there that were super duper stoked.
Well, sure,
Charlie
clearly.
XCX,
I mean, but I saw the flyer with the musical guest Kygo. I was just like, nothing. I had no idea.
Well, there was a huge international, like a lot of people from overseas who probably knew who he was. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm sorry.
But
I'm
it is
sorry
a great
wasn't
place to have.
Sorry, it wasn't Radiohead.
I'm sorry too. Yeah. I don't forgive Google for that.
Or
and
Radiohead.
I expect next year they make it up to me.
Really?
Real quick.
Let's do it.
Real quick. All right. This is speed round of other news because there's some interesting news.
We're doing a speed round.
We're going to go ahead and do the speed round of the other news because why not? Now that we know the rules, let's go. Pebble announced a few things today, but mainly...
we already did the bumper.
Yeah, we already did. Whatever, let's just do it. Pebble Core. And what does this have to do with Android? Well, it's Android-powered smart button, essentially. It's a GPS fitness tracker, Spotify shuffle player, essentially. Has 3G connectivity with a SIM card, optional if you want to use it, but it can also do Wi-Fi, of course, and Bluetooth. Headphone jack, Bluetooth for syncing to your headphones, 4 gigs of internal storage, 2 large buttons on the front to assign functions to it via the Pebble app, so you can have buttons to do things essentially. And Qi charging. Kickstarter is pricing it at $69 promotional price right now, and things are selling like gangbusters.
I respect Pebble's commitment to the Kickstarter platform.
I know, right? They keep coming back to this well.
Yeah. At this point, I would have
thought
at this point I would have thought they would just be doing pre-orders themselves, but they seem to have something working. Okay. Does this matter? Is this a good product?
I don't know. I mean, it shows Pebble's trying things outside of smartwatches because is smartwatches a category to base your entire company on in a short amount of time since they were the hot ticket? I don't know. It seems like things are kind of slowing in smartphones, and this is kind of part of what Pebble's doing to stay in other sectors.
Well, Michael, you've got 2 things on your wrist. Would you add this to your body?
I do. I actually pre-ordered them earlier today. I didn't pre-order the Core though. I think it is very smart of them to diversify, but I don't see how that product can be a mainstream hit. Really, I think it is too limited for exercise people. But I think hackers are going to have a ball with it. I mean, Android 5.0 in a box with 2 programmable function buttons and a couple of radios and a 3G radio. I mean, it'll be fun to watch. But I ordered the Time Steel too. I think. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
You are dedicated to smartwatches.
I sure am. I got forearm left, man.
I've got some ankles.
That's a great segue to our next story.
This is true. Guess who is not going to be making smartwatches?
I know
Android
the answer,
Wear
but
anymore. Guess.
I know. I'm not.
Who's not making? Let me guess. Let me guess.
It's Samsung.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, Samsung has elected to stick with Tizen for its future smartwatches, which means we're just going to be seeing iterations of, I'm assuming, the Gear S2 or the Gear S.
There's an update here.
Or the Gear S.
They sort of backtracked a little bit.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, just a tad. They say, we disagree with Fast Company's interpretation. We've not made any announcement concerning Android Wear. We've not changed our commitment to any of our platforms. But if we have not changed our commitment to any of our platforms, well, if that's true, then they're going to resume having the exact same non-commitment to Android Wear they have since like the Gear 2.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's some creative language there. Yeah.
We don't want to close the door entirely. We want to leave ourselves with options, so we're not going to totally draw the line in the sand.
Right.
Because if this doesn't work out, we have to have a backup plan.
Yes, and Samsung knows all about having plenty of plans.
Well, talking about backup plans and things not working out, you might recall back in 2014, Microsoft acquired Nokia's phone business for $7.2 billion, and they packed it up and turned it around and sold it to HMD Global, who now have a 10-year deal to release Nokia phones and tablets running Android. So the similar to Motorola getting absorbed by Google and then pawned off on Lenovo, Microsoft pulled a little on their own, and now Nokia will live on under the guise of HMD Global. So, and millions of Nokia fans don't even care.
Yeah, do people?
No, they're done.
No?
It's over. It's over.
No?
It's over.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, it's been through so many. It's like sending something through the wash so many times that the color fades out and it just gets torn. And it's
Yep.
Oh.
So it didn't have very good dye and material, is what you're saying.
right. It wasn't a Project Jacquard jacket.
Yes.
It didn't have touch functionality on the sleeve, is what you're saying.
If it did, then the phones would have done much better, and Microsoft wouldn't have sold that.
Probably so.
All right.
Real quick, Russ emailed AAA@twit.tv to, first of all, thank us for the work we did on the cash register ring thing, because that worked out for Russ.
Oh, great. Excellent. This is a
check-in.
Yeah,
Hey,
check-in.
well, you know,
Nice.
it
All right,
worked.
cool. Cha-ching.
But he also shared a tip, which I thought was kind of interesting.
He did not say if a significant other hates him, though.
No, he did not include that. So maybe send us another email,
or
Russ.
coworkers or anyone around you who every time your phone goes cha-ching want to strangle you. Yeah, anyway.
I'm guessing probably so. Yeah. He did say, just found this new tool in Google Maps. It lets you measure any points on a map that you pick. It's been developed previously by third-party developers on other sites, but now it's on Android natively. Basically what you do is, so if you tap and hold, it drops a point, right? So you've dropped a pin. If we go up there and we measure and we go down here, you've got measure distance, and now you can measure distance if you want.
Ooh.
This can come in handy for
That
things.
is
That's
really
pretty
handy.
cool.
And I could be
Yeah.
like,
Then you can
you're too
add
many feet
points,
away. I'm not coming to
and
you.
you can add points and plot out distance
I
maps
love
or
this.
whatever.
Come in handy when you travel.
So anyways, very good tip. I had not seen this. I did not know about this feature, but there you go. Google Maps, you can measure distance
Thank you,
very,
Russ.
very easily thanks to Russ and his cash register ringtone. So that is it. Actually, it's not, because we've got the arena. Better.
But only one lives. Android Arena.
All right, checking in on last week. That was episode 266 to see. We might have to look into possibly changing the polling
Mechanism?
location. It's tied to Google Plus. Google Plus numbers are down, 282 votes. Might want to move it into a place where more people can vote. But anyways, app usage, nice. 36% of the votes.
Who was that?
That was
Jason.
me. Yes.
So
Second place, Network Cell Info Lite, 28%. Third place, looks like FooView at 18%. And fourth place, Bushido Bear at 17%.
So that gives us through 20 weeks of 2016, which makes my head hurt. Jason's still in the lead with 7 wins. I'm in second with 5, and Flo and the guests are tied at 4. So it's a neck and neck arena.
You can do this.
Good times.
Neck.
It's neck and neck. We're within 3 of.
Still last.
No, but it's not like you have like 1. You have 4. That's not. I mean, you're 1 away from being tied with me.
One away being tied with Ron, everyone.
So there you go. There's a
Except for
T-shirt.
I.
I'm 1 away from being tied with Ron. There you go. All right, so I go first since I came in last.
Yes.
All
you
right.
go first.
So, also Bushido Bear was Liam's pick, which came in last, which I think is the first time a guest has come in last. Normally the guests do very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
true.
the first time, but
Bushido
yeah.
Bear was pretty cool. But
Yeah, I know. They didn't seem like it. Anyway, all right, cool. So I have a wonderful app here that I discovered earlier today, actually, and last minute changed my app in the arena. If you're looking for an alternative web browser, if for some reason you don't like Chrome, or you don't want to use Firefox Mobile, or you're on Samsung, you don't want to use the dumb Samsung browser, no one else uses Opera, here's an alternative that you might want to check out. It is called Slimperience Browser. And I'm going to show you the fun features of it and then tell you the oh my God, wow moment about it. So it's a web browser, right? It's material design. We've got a little action button here down in the bottom right where you can add a tab and you can add another site. They have a neat little beta function where you can see all the tabs that you have loaded in a little kind of 3D thing that kind of scrolls and that sort of thing. It's got to load in. Sorry for a moment. But yeah, so I can see my active tabs like that. That's pretty cool. You can, within the action button, you can add a tab. You can close the current tab, close all tabs. What you can also do is you can just swipe from left to right to go to the different tabs. So, right, that's pretty cool, right? And then it's got a bunch of stats and information about what you're actually browsing and how you're using it. I don't know why I didn't load up, though. Did I not press it? I actually don't think I unlocked the Pro version. Oh, yeah, that's coming soon. Sorry, the stats. And it's got detailed settings. You can edit the UI. You can add a light theme or dark theme as ever you want. You can adjust the DPI. Really nitty gritty. You can make this browser your own, make it look however you want it to look. And additionally, also, it has a neat function right here. So when you swipe right, you get that quick panel where you can add bookmarks, share it, set as homepage, etc. They've got an incognito mode if that's something that you feel as if you need and you would need out of Google Chrome. And it's also got a neat thing for a desktop mode. And if you're like me, sometimes you get a website's mobile version and it's annoying because you want to get to that one thing that's either only available in the desktop version or whatnot. This can circumvent the mobile version and go to the desktop mode, which is very, very cool. And within this quick panel, you can access your bookmarks and see your tabs, etc. So now here's the oh my God moment. This app, 400K.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what your pitch is.
Yeah. 400K. So, yeah, so what that does, I'm going to pull this away here. Sorry, I got a message. Anyway, so 400K, it is fast, it is snappy, it loads quick. The name Slimperience is in reference to the Slim app profile that it has. It does all this for just 400. It's actually less than 400K. I think technically it's like 380.
Nice.
So it's well designed. It's stable. I've been using it all day. I've been able to access the usual. I'm on Greenbot all the time. There you go, Flo.
Thanks.
But I've been using it to really give it the run through because I'm pretty much a loyalist to Chrome, and I've got to admit, in terms of load speed, it was absolutely competing with Chrome, if not coming up a little better. So if you want a fast, quick browser that pretty much does everything Chrome does and is not tied into Google, doesn't take up a lot of space on your phone, then Slimperience is the way to go. So, all right.
Nice. Slimperience.
So that is free in the Google Play Store. Slimperience, 400K. It's the new
$400,000?
No, 400 kilobytes.
Oh,
That's a shack in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
that's true.
So, there you go.
Very true, actually. Sadly,
It is.
Excellent. Slimperience browser. All right, Flo, you're up next.
All right, so I'm on a massive family plan with like a crap ton of people, and we keep having data overages. So I've been on the look for an app that helps me stay within my allowance. My data allowance. This one is called My Data Manager, Data Usage. It's a free app. It's been super helpful in telling me what the heck I'm doing with my life and why I'm using so much data. And it gives me a much better readout than what the Android system does. So right here we have a map, and this shows everywhere that I've pinged my trip up here. We have a tab for Wi-Fi, which shows you how much Wi-Fi. Okay, hold on. Let me restart this. So we have a summary here. This tells me how much data I've used this month. Now I set my cap to 4 gigs, so that's how much of an allowance I have every month. Right now I've used 2.52 gigabytes. Last week, so what it does is it calculates everything for you. So it knows that if I keep using this much data the way I have been, then in 14 days I will have gone over my data. Ooh. I will have gone over 4 gigs. So my forecast usage with the way I've been using it is 4.68 gigs, which is not good because then you still have to pay for that overage. Mm-hmm. It tells you how much you've used today, how much you've got left in it gives you a budget every day, which is really nice. Also tells you how much you're using on Wi-Fi so that you kind of know like what is going in and out of your phone every day. And it gives you alarms. and plans. So it'll tell you, if your plan limit's reached, it'll say, oh, you're reaching it. Or if you're 90% there, it'll say, you're almost there. What are you doing? Helps you out. The map also kind of lets you know like where the data you've used, like where you use the most data. I can't speak for some reason. But my favorite thing about this is that it's got this little drop-down notification right here in the notifications panel, which lets you know like how much you've used. You just tap it, brings you straight to the app. It's great. Nice. I love it. Also gives you roaming so that you know if you've roamed at all and how much you might be paying for that on your bill. So,
yeah, I've noticed like T-Mobile has an app that tracks this kind of stuff, but you don't want to use it.
This is just
nice.
It tells you like the times and like how high you've gone on use. I don't know. It's really darn helpful.
Yeah.
I found it to be very helpful. So there you go. My data manager. Manage your data. Stop going over. Maybe don't be on a family plan with a bunch of Romanians.
I was biting my tongue on that one. But
yeah, well, Romanians, we all stick together. What can you do?
I know what you can do. You can get My Data Manager and you can track it and manage what you do have.
Yes, so you don't get yelled at by the other Romanians.
Yes, exactly. All right, Michael, I have your app installed. Tell us a little bit about it.
Terrific. Mine is either very simple or I'm very easily impressed, or some combination of both. But I really love this app because I just discovered it like 2 days ago. If I go out to eat a lot, and I was at a breakfast establishment the other day called the Friendly Toast here in Cambridge, and it's wonderful. They have great breakfast burritos if you're ever in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's excellent, but they have a long wait. And so they take your phone number, and they're like, well, it's going to be about 20 minutes. We'll text you when the table opens up. And they shoot you the text message right away that says, okay, you're in line. And that contains a link that says, see where you're at in line. Download, click this link. And this is why I say this would be a really good candidate for an instant app, because it's not something you necessarily want living on your phone. I don't think its footprint is very big, but if you don't like clutter, this would be a great instant app candidate. But anyway, you install this app. I think you do have to create a login, which takes 2 seconds. And you are given, by default, if you're in line at a restaurant, you're given your place in line. Like there are 11 people ahead of you. And it constantly updates and lets you know what the real sort of lay of the land is in terms of how long your wait is going to be. And if, as we're seeing now, you're not waiting in line, you're just kind of wondering, maybe where can I go to eat? Because I don't cook for myself because I'm apparently a giant man-child. You can find a bunch of places that also support this app or that run the no-wait sort of back end and determine, first of all, whether or not they're open or not. Second of all, how long your wait is going to be if you decide to go to that place. And I believe if it, currently, what is that, 5 to 15 minute wait at Drake's dealership there. Currently, I have an Uno's Pizzeria and Grill 2.7 miles away that says there's currently no wait. I can come right on in. And that's really good to know. I'm not going to go there. But that's the that's how that goes. You can fave places. You can even set your place in line before you arrive. So that's really, really awesome. It's a free app. It's called No Wait. It's pretty straightforward. Like I say, I may be easily impressed, but I love it when an app just does a job well, even if it is a simple job. So that's my new fave. If you go out to eat a lot, give it a go. No Wait.
I noticed a lot of Chili's in the area.
God, I love Chili's.
I love Chili's too, actually.
Yes.
Their chicken crispers with the corn on the cob.
Classic nachos and the old timer with cheese. That's a good combo.
God, you guys can do so much better.
I know.
I don't know. Take a look at that dish in every single.
I know it's the same. Yeah, it looks the same.
Every single Chili's makes this dish exactly the same way. By design.
Right. Consistency.
It's better than Applebee's.
Well, it's not a very high bar.
Yeah, right. Not saying much. All right, so it's called No Wait, one word,
right.
And you should check it out so that you don't have to wait anymore for things.
Yep.
Like food. Okay, so while I was at Google I/O, I saw an app they had a whole section dedicated to creative uses of Android. Android Experiments was one, which reminds me I got stickers for you. I need to get those
awesome.
to you.
Thank you.
And another kind of section of it was all dedicated to music apps, which of course is kind of a passion of mine. And I discovered one that I had not seen before probably because it only came out a month ago, and it's kind of cool. It's a polyphonic synthesizer. So basically, it's an instrument. And because, and here, I'll go ahead and launch it first of all so I can kind of show it. I've got my Nexus 9 from home here. Hopefully, it does not die like Ron's did. Okay, so right out of the box, yes, I don't care. I can turn up volume if I want to. So you've got kind of the layout. This is like a full-on synth, essentially, that you can program. You've got a couple of different oscillators here so that you can play around with it and really kind of change, the sounds of the notes, how they blend together so you can come in here and I think maybe I don't have the mixer on. Where is the mixer? It's obviously very, very complicated. Oh, there's the mixer. Oh,
that's cool.
Ooh.
You've got different effects. So you've got little delays in here if you want to, throw that.
Are you going to headline the next I.O.?
That would be amazing.
I think you should.
That would be amazing.
Got a little reverb, a little chorus. Cool. So you can go in here and you can, go crazy as far as creating these synths, down to like modulation, LFOs to kind of animate some of the other functions throughout the app. It's actually a really deep and detailed synth app. Like, I play with many of these like on my Mac at home, tied into my workstation. Now you've got it here, and not to mention it's running on Android, which always makes me happy because iOS seems to have all of these apps. It has this nice patch list, so 95 different kind of patches that you can jump right to. Some of them are, a little kind of on the...
By the way, that was called Cats on the Keyboard.
So
that's a broken hard drive right there.
Yeah, right. All right, but here's the cool thing.
Theremin.
Okay, here we go. Here's the kicker.
Here's what I really like.
It's like a theremin.
Oh yeah?
Whoa.
That is Theremin.
Yeah.
Whoa, what is this?
So Android 6.0, that's Marshmallow, not N, so you don't need N in order to do this. Has support for MIDI baked into the OS.
Whoa.
And so I have a little
rock
OTG.
out for us?
Well, no, I won't rock out. Okay, it's not easy to rock out on this keyboard, to be honest. But I can plug it right in.
Oh my gosh.
And so now...
You have to headline the next
Isn't that
Google
cool?
I/O.
That's very cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's...
Helicopter bass. It's bassy. Here, do Detroit dub.
Yeah, Detroit dub.
Let's do faulty radio.
Oh. Ooh. Yes. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's a lot of fun. It's super deep. Yeah. And audio listeners, just stop listening. It's called DRC Polyphonic Synthesizer. It has a 7-day trial. It's an expensive app. This is not inexpensive. It's normally $15. They're having a sale right now where it's $11, so it's $10.99 right now. And what I really like about this, kind of the capabilities of the fact that Android has MIDI built into it, is that I can easily interface this with my digital audio workstation at home, and this becomes an outboard synthesizer that I can plug into my setup at home and
That's cool.
Program just in the same way that I program all of my other instruments and integrate Android into the music that I make, which I really want to be able to do. So there you go. It's called DRC Polyphonic Synthesizer, and it's a lot of fun to play around with. You get lost in it.
It's going to be YG EDM. Yellow gold EDM.
I would so be into that. Not gonna lie, I would really be into that.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. I love that they
I'll
included
make you
a
a
lot
T-shirt
of presets.
if you do that. I'll make you.
Oh, so no, never mind. I'm not going to get lost in it. There you go.
Like a sitar at an insect convention.
Yeah, there's some really weird sounds in it too.
A sitar would be at an insect convention.
Yeah.
Actually, that's
It's music for
true.
bugs.
It's true.
Vote for your favorite app this week. Is it Slimperience Browser, My Data Manager, No Wait, or DRC Polyphonic Synthesizer? Go to bit.ly. We'll serenade you with this annoying music while we give you the URL. bit.ly/AAA show 267 to place your vote. And yeah, we'll check. Ooh, I like that one. Asteroid miner is what that's
Yes,
You
Makes
really
me
should
wanna
know
dance.
better than to leave a noise-making machine within arm's reach of me.
Yes, Bleak. This app can you can use the app as a MIDI input for the DAW. That's what I was just saying. It goes in and it goes out as well. So it has MIDI in and MIDI out.
So here we go.
So there we go. That is it. bit.ly/AAA show 267. Ron is going to play us out today. Great show.
It
Great
stopped
IO
working.
recap.
There you go.
The robot heartbeat.
Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and all about Android,
I can't do
all about
anything.
Android, all
There you
about
go.
Android.
Oh,
I
boy.
feel much better. Thank you.
That was just for you, Michael. Michael, thanks for coming on tonight's episode. Definitely
Thank you for
a
having
long
me.
episode. So thanks for hanging with us.
Yeah.
It was great to relive my first I.O., so I really appreciate it, and I always love hanging with you guys, so thank you very much for having me back.
Absolutely. Anytime, man. So where should people follow all the things you're doing while Ron serenades you?
This is bringing a whole new life to the Flug section. Keep
I
going.
was just gonna say, yeah. No, we haven't. We're gonna be launching my new internet personality. I'll be called Mr. Mobile. It's going to be very cute. That'll be in a few weeks. Until then, just find me on Twitter, Mr. Mobile Tweets, MR Mobile Tweets, all one word. Facebook is Mr. Mobile Live. Instagram is Mr. Mobile Grams. Snapchat is Mr. Mobile Snaps. Who knows if any of this will change by the time you listen to it? But find me. I'm Mr. Mobile. It'll be great.
Mr. Mobile is the king of branding.
That's right.
Pretty impressive.
Unnecessarily elaborate branding. Yeah.
No, it's good. That's a good way to go. And now you have a theme song, so there you go.
Yeah. Hooray.
Thanks again, Michael. Always a pleasure getting you on.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Ron, what about you?
Yes.
Tell me all about yourself, Ron.
Turnabout is fair play. No. Yeah, you can go to about.me/RonXO where you can get all my social media links. You go check out ifanboy.com where we just reviewed the Captain America movie. We're going to be reviewing X-Men Apocalypse, whatever it's called, this coming weekend. So check, as well as the new Preacher TV show. We'll be reviewing that. But most importantly, I'm super excited because this Saturday I'm going to be back here co-hosting the new Screensavers with Leo. It's going to be a blast. But hey, listen, here's the deal. They said, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, well, I like to talk about the Android stuff. So this is a call from you guys. If you have any Android-related questions or anything else for Call for Help, if you need anything that you want us to hear us talk about on the new Screensavers about Android, shoot an email over to newscreensavers@twit.tv, and any good questions, we might answer them on the show. So definitely write in. It'll be good to hear from the All About Android faithful represent.
Yeah.
So please write in. Thank you.
Send us some great Android questions. Get them answered on the new Screensavers. What about you, Flo? I'm afraid. I'm afraid for you.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid for me too. You guys can find me on PCWorld.com, Greenbot.com, on Twitter at OhThatFlow, where I talk about Android and everything else, on Snapchat at OhThatFlow, and you can find me on Twitch on the weekends streaming Pokemon the card game.
Still doing the Pokemon card game.
I'm so into it. I'm like, right now I'm leveling up. I have a water deck that I've been playing a lot with.
I hear that Pokemon the card game is a great place to pick up chicks. That's what I hear on the Twitter.
This is what you hear from my Twitter.
Yes.
Because some bozo was like, hey, baby, like 11:30 last night. Hey, just a PSA. Please don't pick up chicks on like games at 11:30 at night.
11 o'clock
Monday.
maybe, but seriously.
On a
11:30.
Monday?
I don't know. Love don't stop, Flo.
It does, yeah.
It don't stop
It will
flowing.
if my Blastoise blasts you.
Oh, you lost me with your Pokemon talk. But that's a general PSA for all you people out there who
good advice.
do
It's good
otherwise.
advice.
Very good advice. Brian, what about you?
Well, when I'm not doing the show, I do a how-to show with Padre, and it's called Know How. Oh, is that my theme music? Because I can provide my own theme music, Jason.
Ooh, it's going to be a war now.
That's better. Oh, he cut you off.
Yeah, I muted you.
Oh,
I
man.
have all the power over here.
That was probably wise.
But you can follow me on Twitter at cranky_hippo. We'll be talking a lot about Maker Faire because that's what we
The
did.
irony is that
last
his music is so loud you can't hear him talk.
That's okay.
I can hear
I
him.
can hear me.
I can hear him. You can find me at about.me/Jason Howell. Follow my musical exploits that may or may not involve this app at yellowgoldmusic.com. And I think that's about it. Yeah, in fact, you know what? That's it. 347-SHOW-AAA is the number. You can send us an email at AAA@twit.tv. Find us on Twitter. We are at Android Show. Keep going. We are on Reddit. We have twitaaa.reddit.com. It's the subreddit. Show notes and past episodes at twit.tv/AAA, along with YouTube and iTunes. You can catch us live every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. Pacific at twit.tv/live. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode, maybe a less annoying episode of All About Android. Bye, everyone.